Hey there everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood YouTuber coming at you with another exciting video. Today, we're going deep into the Marvel Universe to explore two of its most formidable villains, the High Evolutionary and Kang the Conqueror. We'll be diving into their powers, their badassery, and ultimately, we'll determine who reigns supreme. Now, I know some of you may not agree with me, but hey, that's what makes this discussion interesting. In my humble opinion, Kang the Conqueror deserves the crown when it comes to being the most menacing villain in the MCU, right after the legendary Thanos. Trust me, this guy is on a whole new level of power and menace. But before you dismiss my claim, I totally get the skepticism. We all have our favorite villains and personal preferences. But let me break it down for you and lay out all the reasons why Kang takes the cake. Who knows, you might just see him in a whole new light. Now, before we dive into the Marvel madness, I've got a small favor to ask. Recently, my channel took a hit from some cyber attacks, and my views dropped a whopping 90%. Now, I need all of your help to get my channel back on track. All I need is after watching the video, please hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. It's just a small gesture for you, but it makes a really big impact on us. So without wasting more time, let's get down to business. First things first, let's give credit where credit is due. James Gunn, the mastermind behind Guardians of the Galaxy, showcased his exceptional writing skills. He took this relatively unknown comic book villain and transformed him into one of the most terrifying characters in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a testament to his talent and creativity. Now, let's talk about expectations for a moment. Ever since Kevin Feige introduced Avengers Kang Dynasty, we've been on the edge of our seats, eagerly awaiting Kang's grand entrance into the MCU. We all anticipated that Kang the Conqueror would be the next major villain in the MCU, much like Thanos. And let's be real, the expectations were sky high. We craved for Kang to outshine Thanos and blow our minds in ways we couldn't even imagine. But let's face it, Thanos was a game changer. He took a decade to build up and completely shattered our expectations. So, asking Kang to top that, well, it's like asking for the moon. On the other hand, the expectations for the High Evolutionary were relatively low. Many of us were actually misguided and thought Adam Warlock would take the spotlight. But as we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy, Warlock didn't make the grand entrance we hoped for. So, the High Evolutionary had the advantage of starting with little to no expectations. Now, let's dig into each movie's build-up and backstory of these villains in their respective movies. Taking a closer look at Quantumania, where Kang's build-up is pretty decent. We get glimpses of his monstrosity through the reactions of supporting characters. The fear and terror he instills in characters like Lord Krayler and Janet leave us on the edge of our seats, craving to know more about Kang's character. However, this build-up is quickly overshadowed when Kang's backstory is solely delivered through Janet's exposition fest. It would have been more effective to show Kang's power and destruction rather than just telling us about it. Now, when it comes to the High Evolutionary, they took a different approach, my friends. They learned from the mistakes of the past and embraced the show and don't tell method. The High Evolutionary's build-up and backstory are flawlessly aligned. We're constantly reminded that this guy is pure evil, and we get to witness his transformation from a twisted scientist to a full-blown megalomaniac. The High Evolutionary stands out as a menacing villain because we actually see all his heinous acts unfold on the screen. From torturing and experimenting on countless animals and humans, to effortlessly defeating Adam Warlock, this guy means business. Plus, who could forget the emotional impact of seeing the devastating effects of his experiments on poor Rocket? The High Evolutionary's build-up and backstory add depth to his character, making him an even more formidable foe. Now, let's switch gears and talk about personal stakes versus higher stakes. The High Evolutionary directly threatens the life of Rocket, one of the Guardians we've grown and attached to over the past decade. That personal connection amplifies the intensity of the conflict, and it hits us right in the heart. On the flip side, we have Kang the Conqueror, who's all about conquering the multiverse. And while make him comic book accurate, it lacks the emotional depth necessary to make him a captivating big-screen villain. Kang is powerful and ambitious, but without that personal touch, it's hard for us to truly connect with him. The High Evolutionary, on the other hand, deviates from the source material and introduces personal stakes, making his character more intriguing and relatable. Now, let's shift our focus to the initial interactions between our heroes and these villains. In Quantumania, Scott Lang treats Kang as a joke. He underestimates him and makes snarky comments, downplaying Kang's threat level. And you know what? It's a buzzkill. It not only robs Kang of his menacing presence, but it also diminishes the stakes of the conflict. On the other hand, Star-Lord and the Guardians take the High Evolutionary seriously right from the start. They understand the danger he poses and the potential consequences if they fail to stop him. This contrasting reaction between the protagonists establishes a stronger dynamic between Star-Lord and the High Evolutionary. Next on our list, we're diving into the world of visual design and presence. When the High Evolutionary makes his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, he is visually striking and downright intimidating. Picture this, his imposing armor, the dark aura surrounding him, and that eerie blue energy crackling in the air. Trust me, when the High Evolutionary is on screen, all eyes are on him. His presence leaves a lasting impression on the audience, and we can't help but be captivated. In contrast, while Kang the Conqueror's presence in the MCU is undoubtedly significant, his visual design in Ant-Man and The Wasp Quantumania doesn't have the same impact. He appears as a charismatic and enigmatic figure, but his look is relatively subdued compared to the High Evolutionary. It all because one particular reason that hide in plain sight. And I'll discuss it at the end of the video, so stay tuned because it's going to be worth the wait. Last but not least, let's move on to explore the potential for future storylines. The High Evolutionary's introduction opens up exciting possibilities for future storylines in the MCU. As a powerful and morally ambiguous character, he has the potential to be a recurring villain or even a complex anti-hero. His obsession with perfecting life forms could lead to conflicts with other heroes, such as the Avengers or the X-Men, who might oppose his methods. This sets the stage for intriguing narratives and character dynamics moving forward. While Kang the Conqueror also has immense potential for future storylines, his character has already been established as a variant of himself, with different versions of Kang appearing across different timelines. This limits his narrative trajectory to a certain extent, as his main goal is to conquer and control the multiverse. Now, the main reason that no one realizes, but for that we have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. You see, all the Kangs we've seen so far are not necessarily the villains, except for the Council of Kangs. I'm talking about He Who Remains in the Kang variant we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I know it may sound a bit strange, considering that Marvel has already made a whole movie and a series about Kang. But bear with me, because there's something fascinating here. In Loki Season 1 when he mentioned trying to maintain balance and make things better, and he's tired to doing all of this all alone. Well, there's a similar sentiment expressed by the Kang variant that Janet encounters. Unfortunately, we only saw Janet's vision through the power core, and we didn't get to hear his side of the story. So, long story short, here's the twist, my friends. It's becoming clear that he is not the actual Kang the Conqueror we know from the comics. In fact, he seems to be more of a good guy, driven by a purpose similar to Thanos. He wants to protect the timeline and prevent incursions. It's a whole different ballgame and it's got us intrigued. On the other hand, we have the High Evolutionary, who is just a maniac. He wants to destroy and create something better, no matter the cost. His actions result in death and destruction, and he's motivated by his twisted ideals. It's a classic case of the hero versus the maniacal villain. So, that's the real reason behind my opinion. I'm pretty confident that we will get to see the real badass version of Kang in later movies. The stage is set, and the potential for epic storylines is immense. But here's the question of the hour. Will Kang turn out to be a surprising hero? Or will he remain a formidable villain? I'm dying to know what you think. Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going and keep the Marvel magic alive. And with that, my friends, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did putting it together. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your fellow Marvel fans, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more captivating Marvel discussions and mind-bending theories. Oh, and before I forget, we have an awesome store where you can find some fantastic Marvel merchandise. The link is right there in the video description, so make sure to check it out. Stay awesome, stay Marvelous, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.